What's up, SnEaKyNation? SnEaKy-P here, back with all the news after Week 15 of our San Francisco 49ers franchise, where the 49ers picked up a heartbreaking loss to the Atlanta Falcons. Next up is the Rams, but first, let's check out some highlights from Week 15. Mohamed Sanu down the field to the 16-yard line. That would set up this Devonta Freeman touchdown run, and he would be on his way to a monster game for the Falcons. They go up 7-0. They would get the ball back. Here is Freeman again with the spin move, and he is going to take this across midfield to the 49-yard line. Then later on in the drive, 1st and goal, Freeman into the end zone for the second time today, and it would put the Falcons up 14-0 early on. Falcons again trying to strike, and this is Coleman down the right side of the field now. Falcons once again on the move. This time Mohamed Sanu would take it into the end zone, and they would go up 21-0 at halftime. Early on in the second half, the 49ers trying to get back into the game, and Jeremy Curley would deliver this big play down to the 29-yard line. Later on, 2nd down and 5, Torrey Smith into the end zone, touchdown for the 49ers, and they would get within 14. Falcons on the move though, trying to get some more points on the board. On 3rd and 8, Colston coming up big. Then on 3rd and 12, another big conversion for the Falcons. This would be Colston once again. They would settle for a field goal, or so they thought. This is Demetrius McCray with his 2nd block of the year, becoming somewhat of a special teams hero for the 49ers here. They would have the ball back, and Sean Drone would convert. 49ers get within 7, but Devonta Freeman has other plans. First carry of the drive after the touchdown. Freeman would take this all the way to the 17-yard line. That would set up the Falcons with Freeman's 3rd touchdown run of the day. They would go up 28-14 over the 49ers. Then later on in the 4th, Matt Ryan again down the field finds Julio Jones. He had 99 yards receiving on the day. Then on 1st and 15 on the left side, here is Julio Jones again breaking some tackles. He would take it all the way down to the 5-yard line. They would settle for a field goal here. This time it is not blocked, and the Falcons go up 31-14 over the 49ers. The 49ers would try to get some more points on the board here. They do find Vance McDonald, but on 4th down, the Falcons defense would get the sack on Blaine Gabbert, and that would end the day. The 49ers fall to the Falcons to a 6-8 record. Now, the 49ers are not actually eliminated yet. Currently, the Seahawks and the Rams played. We see that the Rams lost the game by the record there. So the Seahawks are 8-6. They also have the tiebreaker over us, but we each have 2 games left, and the 49ers could potentially beat the Seahawks in Week 17. Then we'd have to see who had the better record. Better tie-breaking record, I should say. Here we are for practice, trying to get ready for the Rams. We lost to the Rams in Week 1 overtime game, so we are looking to get revenge here today, but it is going to be on the road. That makes things more difficult. On 1st and goal, Bowman would get the interception, so we do get the silver medal, but certainly not exactly what we had hoped to do. It's going to be an interesting game against the Rams. The 49ers have to win to keep their playoff hopes alive, as do the Rams. This is definitely going to be a tough game. First question from the press comes by Mr. Lama. What is one position not necessary to use a draft pick on? And I'm going to go ahead and say defensive end. However, we might take a defensive end if we see hope that we could maybe move them to defensive tackle too. I do think we are probably going to let Williams go to free agency. We feel pretty comfortable with Quentin Dial there, but if we see a guy that we can move over, we might do it. We do have a lot of faith in Buckner and Armstead though, and they're both very young, so drafting somebody there certainly isn't a high priority. Next question comes from Bullseye. Are you getting a new quarterback, and are you going to bring back Quentin Patton? We do plan on getting a new quarterback. Whether that quarterback is a starter or not remains to be seen. I don't know yet. We'll have to see who's there in the draft, what kind of value we're looking at before making any kind of decisions there, and who we go into next season with. But we do plan on adding a new face to this roster at the quarterback position for sure. As for bringing back Quentin Patton, I don't know. We're going to have to kind of wait and see how much he's asking for, see if we can work something out with him. He had an underrated season for us, but all of our guys were quite inconsistent. As far as the games go, 27-20, the Seahawks get the victory here. And of course, this is a big game for us. and could certainly impact our playoff chances. We're currently 2 games behind the Seahawks, as we talked about earlier, and there's 2 games to go. They also have the tiebreaker on us right now, but if we can get a victory over the Rams in Week 16 and a victory over the Seahawks in Week 17, we certainly do have a chance if the Seahawks lose their matchup this upcoming week. It's certainly going to be a challenging task, but we could potentially still do it. Next up, we have a 31-17 victory. The Jets rebound after their loss to the 49ers with a victory over the Dolphins here. The Jets improved to 6-8 on the year. The Dolphins falling to 4-10. 2 touchdowns by Taliaferro there. Interesting to see him having a good game. Brandon Marshall would lead the way with 7 catches and 78 yards. Tammy would have a touchdown. Rodgers would have 2 for the Dolphins there. Defensively, Fletcher leading the way with 12 tackles on the day. 2 sacks by Mario Williams. Then we're going to have a few other players get some sacks as well. Interceptions by Jones, Hewitt, and Jenkins on the day. Fumbles forced, we are going to have a few here. 1 by Jones, 1 by Jenkins. Neither would be recovered. 38-13, the Packers with the victory over the Bears. The Packers improved to 10-4 on the year. The Bears falling to 3-11. Jay Cutler, 2 interceptions to go with his 1 touchdown there. A great game by Aaron Rodgers, as expected. Alshon Jeffrey with a good game too. 6 catches, 150 yards for him. An outstanding effort and an ultimate losing effort, unfortunately for him. We're going to be led in tackles by Jones Cordy there. Then 1.5 sacks by Mike Daniels. Interception-wise, we're going to have a few on the day. 1 by Morgan Burnett, 1 by Quentin Rollins there. Fumbles forced. Let's see what we got. None on the day. 21-14. The Bucs with an upset victory over the Cowboys. Somewhat anyway. The Bucs improved to 7-7 on the year. The Cowboys fall to 8-6. Martin would run for a touchdown, as would the rookie Ezekiel Elliott on the day. Receiving Des Bryant, 6 catches, 94 yards. He would not get a touchdown though. Mike Evans and Bryce Butler would, as would Ronnie Hillman on the day. Barry Church would lead the way with 9 tackles on the day. 2 sacks by Randy Gregory. Going to have a bunch of players each get a sack here as well. Interceptions, 1 by Sean Lee, 1 by McDougald here. And then as far as fumbles forced, we are going to have 1 by Randy Gregory. It would not be recovered. 27-24, the Jags with the victory over the Texans. The Jags improved to 7-7 on the season. The Texans falling to 4-10. Osweiler is back from injury, but again, it just didn't really matter. We did see Savage play some last week. Ultimately, they are going to lose. Allen Hurns, 147 yards with 9 catches and a touchdown for him. A phenomenal game. As we see a bunch of receiving touchdowns there. Cushing would lead the way with 11 tackles. Audric would have 3 sacks. Clowney would have 2 sacks. A few players getting a sack and a half, and a few players getting a sack as well. 2 interceptions by Prince Amukamara on the day. Fumbles forced, we have none on the game. 34-24. The Browns getting a victory over the Bills here. The Browns improved to 8-5-1 on the year. The Bills fall to 9-5 on the season. Still looking pretty good, but ultimately, this loss could come back to haunt them. We've definitely seen the Patriots getting their act together, and I think the Patriots have actually taken the lead within the division. Actually, maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to find out later. Lemonade and Hughes each with 2 sacks on the day. Interceptions, we are going to have 2 by Joe Hayden, 1 by Gilmore. Then fumbles forced. Let's see what we got. We're going to have at least 1. We have 3. Lemonade, Williams, and Campbell would force the fumble. None would be recovered. 20-17. The Eagles with the victory over the Ravens. The Eagles improved to 4-10 on the year. A good game by Carson Wentz once again. Last week it didn't lead to a victory. This week it does. The Ravens fall to 3-11 on the season, and we have seen a lot of big games by Steve Smith Sr. It's just not translating the victory. CJ Mosley leading the way in tackles. Cox with 2 sacks on the day. A bunch of guys going to have a sack in today's game though. Interceptions, we have none happening. Fumbles forced. Let's see, we have 1 or 2 by Lewis, 1 by Dumerville, 1 by Grugier Hill. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. 24-6, the Titans get the victory over the Chiefs. The Titans improve to 7-7 on the year. The Chiefs fall to 9-5. So somewhat of an upset victory by the Titans here for sure. Macklin leading the way with 6 catches, 79 yards, and a touchdown. Matthews would have a touchdown for the Titans there. Defensively, Houston, 10 tackles on the day. He'd also have 2 sacks, but Kevin Dodd, the rookie, would lead the way with 4 sacks, and we have seen him tear offensive lines apart all season long, and that did not stop today. 4 sacks by the rookie, unbelievable. Gaines would force a fumble. Cersei and Poe would each force a fumble. Only Poe would recover his. 28-27, the Lions would get the victory over the Giants. The Lions improved to 11-3 on the year. The Giants fall to 7-6-1. Abdullah and Vereen would each rush for 2 touchdowns on the day. Riddick would rush for 1 as well. Anquan Bolden, 8 catches, 146 yards. Golden Tate, 135 yards. And then 123 by Odell Beckham Jr. Certainly a lot of big games receiving there. Nada would lead the way with 9 tackles. Sacks, 1.5 by Anza there. 1 by Jones, 1 by Jason Pierre-Paul as well. Interceptions, 2 by Darius Slade Jr. Jones, Levy, and Hall would each get 1 as well. Fumbles forced, we have 1 by Leon Hall. Hankins and Collins would each force 1 as well. 30-24, the Colts with the victory over the Vikings. The Colts improved to 7-7 on the year. The Vikings falling to 9-5. And Hogan getting some time today. It looks like Bradford is out with an injury. We'll have to keep an eye on that. 141 yards by Adrian Peterson. He continues to crush it this season, having an unbelievable year. And it did lead to a loss today, but ultimately it has been a big reason why the Vikings are currently sitting at 9-5 despite various injuries happening. Henry Anderson, 2.5 sacks. Walden with 1.5 sacks on the day. Interceptions, we are going to have none happening in today's game. Fumbles forced. And 1 by Geathers, he would recover it as well. 24-7, the Cardinals would get the victory over the Saints. The Cardinals get their 3rd win of the year to improve to 3-11. The Saints, with that loss, fall to 6-8 on the year. Certainly not a loss the Saints one. I mean, this is a talented Cardinals team, but it just doesn't explain why they have been struggling so much this season. And when you lose to a 2-11 team, it's certainly not good for the Saints. Laurinaitis would lead the way with 9 tackles. Campbell would have 2 sacks. Nick Fairley would add a sack as well. Interceptions, 1 by Tony Jefferson on the day. Fumbles forced. Jefferson would also force a fumble, as would Laurinaitis and Vaccaro. 30-16, the Patriots with a victory over the Denver Broncos. The Patriots improving to 8-5-1. So currently, I believe the Bills are at 9-5. The Patriots 8-5-1. Definitely a tight battle as the season is winding down. The Broncos fall to 4-10 on the season. 137 yards by Thomas receiving. He would have a touchdown as well. Defensively, Hightower leading the way with 9 tackles. And then we're going to have 1 sack by Mario Addison there. Interceptions, 1 by Malcolm Butler, 1 by Patrick Chung on the day. And then fumbles forced, we have 1 by TJ Ward. He would recover it. Von Miller and Chris Long would each force 1 as well. 37-31, the Chargers get the victory over the Oakland Raiders. The Chargers continue to have the best record in the NFL, currently at 12-2. The Raiders fall to 6-8 on the year. They had more expectations coming into the year. It just has not quite paid out for them yet. Michael Crabtree, 9 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown for him. Keenan Allen, 8 catches, 103 yards, and a touchdown. Then Latavius Murray, 3 catches, over 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns for him. Unbelievable. Melvin Ingram would get the only sack of the day. Denzel Perryman would get the only interception of the day. And then we have Hayward and Carey each forcing a fumble that were not recovered. 37-19, the Bengals getting the victory over the Steelers. The Bengals improved to 7-6-1. The Steelers fall to 9-5 on the year. And not having Roethlisberger is very much hurting this Patriots team. Gosh, this Steelers team right now, they need him back before the playoffs. Definitely a key injury to a team that's doing a very good job. Harrison with 9 tackles on the day. Atkins, Dunlap, and Matthews would each get a sack. A few players are going to split a sack here as well. Interceptions, 1 by Captain Munnerlyn on the day. Then fumbles forced. Let's see what we have. None happening. 26-23, the Panthers with a victory over the Redskins. The Panthers improved to 7-7 on the year. The Redskins fall to 6-8. Cam Newton has really come on strong here in recent weeks. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He ran for 37 yards as well. Receiving, Deshaun Jackson would have 70 yards on 6 catches and a touchdown there for the Redskins. Defensively, Short's going to lead the way with 11 tackles there. He would also have Williams and Edwards would have a bunch of players are having the sacks. Oh my gosh. It's a lot more than I anticipated reading off there. Trey Boston and Luke Kuechly would each get an interception on the day. Trey Boston would force a fumble and recover it. Mason Foster and Johnson would do the same. As far as player of the week, Devonta Freeman, 31 carries, 223 yards, and 3 touchdowns for him. Jones with 9 tackles, a sack, and an interception. Kevin Dodd, the rookie, with 8 tackles, 4 sacks. And then Phillip Rivers, 28 of 42. 4 passing touchdowns for him. Now, we don't have to look at the Rams roster this week because we've already checked them out. So we'll get right into scouting, and then we'll look at the standings. Here's Deshaun Deese out of UCF, I'm sorry. Undrafted free agent or undrafted player potentially. Then you have Darby Buckhalter, another 3-4 guy, projected mid-6th round, also undrafted talent though, something to keep an eye on. And a lot of these late round picks are all coming up as undrafted talent, but look at his top 3 skills. They do look good. It's all going to come down to the combine, I would think. Here are the standings. The Chargers leading the way at 12-2 for the AFC West. The Steelers currently holding on to the AFC North. The Bills holding on to the AFC East. And then the Chiefs looking at 1 wild card spot. The Patriots looking at the other. And then Browns falling just short. AFC South being led by the Colts at 7-7. But the the Titans and the Jags also currently at 7-7. That's definitely going to be a big battle as the season winds down. Lions leading the NFC North. The Falcons with the South. Packers looking at a wild card spot. Vikings looking at a wild card spot. The Seahawks are going to lead the West. And then you have the Cowboys leading the East currently. So a lot of playoff matchups going to be very key as this season is winding down. It's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. That is going to be it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in Week 16 as we take on the Los Angeles Rams. Later.